holidays nale, adu namma GT Holidays da. South India's #1 travel brand.
Ariza shirts and trousers.
Deepavali collection Kodi, Magachiyum Kodi. The Chennai Silks. Let the celebrations begin.
Dad's got a piano and he's been practicing how to play. And I was playing...
I'm glad to know that there's one thing he cannot do. Yeah, this is because this is
I am officially better at the piano.
Hello Shruti, welcome to Galatta Plus.
Hi.
There's a whole bunch of stuff happening with you. There's of course Salaar, then there's an international project called The Eye.
Yes.
And then you have the single which we're going to talk about called Monster Machine.
Yes.
Now what intrigued me about the little press note that we got was that it's a celebration of dark feminine energy.
Yes.
And that it's also a celebration of unbridled sensuality.
Yes.
Can you put those two terms in context for me with respect to the song?
To put it very basically, it's the opposite of everything I have catered to before this. I think it's about...
what is dark feminine energy? What do you mean by that?
I think when, and I like to talk about this with a new tonality, which isn't anti-men or anti-societal norms. It's also just about women, if we just said in the sisterhood, owning amongst each other and celebrating the dark force and the dark energy, which is traits that we see in cinema, music of men seeking vengeance, celebrating rage, owning power, masculinity. All of those are celebrated, yet with women, amongst women itself, there isn't a language or a jargon to celebrate that.
Right.
So there are those of us who do it. It's not about fitting in as much as it's about owning it and discussing it. This has been my process and the things that excite me as a woman. And by sensuality, it's about owning the root chakra. It's about speaking about that in its most glorified and expansive way, not sexuality. Sensuality. Right.
But you said it's very different from the way it's been treated in film. But haven't women always been treated a little sensually in our films?
It's not that sensual. It's not sensuality determined by the male gaze. It's sensuality enjoyed by a woman. Okay. What she wants.
Right.
And how does she portray? And sensuality is tactile. It's viscous. It's a feeling. Okay. It is not to achieve a certain end goal.
Explain to me the title, which is Monster Machine.
Yes.
So the song goes, I don't want a monster. No, I want a monster.
Not a man.
Not a man. Yeah. What is Monster Machine?
Basically, if you've seen the video, there is the referencing to the archaic draconian concept of witchcraft and being burnt at the stake.
Yeah.
I think the stakes have changed over the years. And there are very many women with small fires, some massive, who are still being burnt at some metaphorical stake. And I think we've had many examples of those.
Right.
And the stakes change, and in the video I'm trying to play 4 different characters that represent different women.
Right.
In my head, in its limited way, for my narrative. In that, through time, I read this quote which just stayed with me forever, and it said, "We are the granddaughters of the witches you couldn't burn."
Nice.
And
Whose quote is it?
I don't know. It's one of those Instagram things where it just says unknown and then somebody suddenly slapped someone else's name on it.
Right.
That was something that really hit me. It's a lineage and a hereditary jewel that we carry as women. And so when I was thinking about the monster, women, when they say a corporate woman, or when they say the modern woman, or she's lost her values, it's another kind of burning at the stake. Because we have to adapt with the environment we're in.
Right.
And that adaptation sometimes means we're called a monster. There are many adjectives for it, chudel, monster, the B word, whatever you want to call it. But it's about harnessing this power and turning it into a machine-like, almost like the Terminator.
Right.
So that's why I called it Monster Machine. It's about those women and those men who encourage those women to turn it into a force of channeled, focused energy.
What was your headspace when you said, I need to make something like this?
I think, even the last time when we spoke, it was always like, I am exploring. I am exploring. And the headspace was giving myself the freedom to say, okay, in the ideas line, you have so many things in your mind, ye karna hai, wo bolna hai. But it's one thing to wish and one thing to like I said, filter it, distill it down and say, what do I want to say?
Right.
So that took a while because it was through music, and I knew being in cinema in my capacity, I wanted to use these years of my experience in cinema to create a visual narrative for my music. For me, my music alone now doesn't feel enough
Right.
to tell the story. Music is one of the greatest, most timeless storytelling tools, but being in cinema for so long, I like to meld them together. So I've done 2 music videos before. It was a bit stepping into it. And this was something that was really close to me.
Right. No, so what I meant is, typically when you read about the creation of rock songs or pop song or something like that, one of the famous examples being Eric Clapton's Wonderful Tonight.
Yes.
He wrote it for his wife. So there's always a spark that happens.
Oh, you're saying,
And-
did I write this for someone?
No. As in, I don't want to get into that zone, but what I'm trying to say is, this is like you're flowing in this river of discovery. What was the point that made you stop and say, okay, now something that must have shaken you and said, okay, I need to put this out now? What was that?
No, actually, I've been wanting to put it out for a while.
Okay.
And then I redid it as well.
Right.
So it's been a process.
For how long?
2 years.
Okay.
Because I'd done one version and then this is the second version.
Wow.
So it's been a process. I wanted this monster woman to be out long ago.
Right.
And I've been hinting ki, Varwa.
She's going to come out.
She's just there, the door's opening.
Right.
But in terms of the headspace, I love songs.
Yeah.
And I love being in love. I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Even if I don't have a partner to be in love, I love the idea of love.
Yeah.
But my idea and concept of it has always been a bit skewed. And it took me a long time to realize that's okay. It's a bit twisted. It's a bit dark. I want to find my weirdo in the corner, not my superstar in the sunlight, So to come to that, this is also about knowing when I have twisted and molded myself and melted into this person, I wanted a partner that's a monster, not a man.
Right.
So it is in reference to a modern relationship. In the song, there's my partner, my actual partner, speaking in Assamese, me replying in Tamil. It's that. It doesn't matter where it's coming from.
Right.
It's what do you need from love?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you would say, despite the imagery, or maybe because of the imagery, this is actually a love song.
It's a love song to self first.
Right.
It's very much the oxygen mask. Put it on first and then help others.
Yeah.
Know what you want from any situation first.
Right,
So
right.
it is about that expanding into the rest.
So when Shruti Haasan makes music, you obviously the lyrics come from you.
Yes.
The music, the basic tune probably
No, I
comes
write
from...
everything on the piano first.
And you also do the arrangements?
No, so I work with producers then.
Okay,
Yes.
right. So you basically compose the tune and the lyrics and everything
And
that
the
you want to
main
say,
melody,
the main
yeah.
melody, and then the rest you kind of...
Yeah. So
Pick
I
and
write
choose.
the chords, I write it, and then I take it to very talented musicians
Right.
who work with me collaboratively. So on this song, I worked with Karan Kanchan, who's really well known for his rhythm and his rhythm programming and
Right.
his production. And Karan Parikh, who's been like my long-time musical associate, arranged my other songs as well. So it's an amalgamation.
So tell me, when somebody has these notions of being a woman, how have you been able to sustain yourself in an industry that is largely celebrating the 180-degree opposite of this woman that you are?
Because it's roles I'm playing.
That's
I'm
it's
not
just role playing.
Yeah.
But doesn't that get to you sometimes? Because there are people who say
No,
that...
I'm never playing Shruti. Actually, recently I played Shruti in a movie, which was weird.
Yeah.
But I've never actually played myself, so I'm playing a part.
Right.
But you're saying off. Yeah, so that's the whole fun of the not fun time of my career was don't wear black and don't say that and
Yeah.
please sonna misunderstand. So I'd be like, seri, okay, then now no solla maten.
So maybe, because I can think of a few movies, like maybe 3 or something like that, where the movie itself went into a dark zone. Otherwise,
D-Day.
yeah. But otherwise,
Literally two.
yeah, which is literally 2 films.
Yeah.
Otherwise, everywhere else, you're this bright, chirpy, pretty,
have
whatever.
that
like
side as well.
You do, but I'm saying that when there's so much of this other woman, and as you're defining yourself, because you're saying that that's the mirror that I look into,
Yeah.
have you ever thought of maybe producing a film
Yes.
for yourself? Is that something you're doing?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
With these notions kind of put together.
I am many kinds of women, and that's the journey of.
I think we're all
growing.
multitudes.
Exactly.
Yeah. So
you
there's
are
no,
many
yeah,
kinds of man.
Yeah.
We have a masculine, we have a feminine. We float
Yeah.
an androgyny sometimes. I do have that really kooky, fun, sunshine side. And I get to feed that through cinema and comedy.
And this.
And and this is my core though. This is my soul. It's a bit grey. Yeah.
Right. Now, given that you're a musician, why haven't we seen an album from you yet?
Because I write in English, and that's been the biggest challenge for
Okay.
me. I sing in Tamil, Hindi. I've sung in Gujarati, Marathi, Bengali, Kannada, Malayalam.
Yeah.
But I write only in English. And I can only come up with 1 or 2 lines in Hindi or Tamil that feel organic to the song. And I know where, especially in a time and a place now online, which is like Tamil la pesunga, Hindi mein baat karo, Angrezi gana kyun gaate ho. And I understand that patriotism, but the problem is, I grew up in an English medium school. I grew up in that background, and that is
And you think
authentically
in
who I am.
English, yes,
Exactly. But I curse in Tamil.
Yeah.
So
That's interesting.
yeah,
Right.
I get stressed in Hindi. I use bad words in Tamil, and then I think in English.
Yeah.
So that's how my brain operates. But this is who I am. This is authentically me. I had MSV songs and Hindustani Sangeet, but I grew up with Nirvana and Tori Amos.
Right. So that's you.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's why it's difficult to put out.
And when I started acting, it was a clear mandate, like, do not confuse people with this. Do not do this. Like, don't do it.
You mean to say people said that
People said
you
it.
would not be people will not be able to reconcile reconcile this Shruti with this
Yes,
Shruti.
I was told by multiple people across.
Okay.
Don't. Paadringana kannadaga madri paadunga. Don't sing like this. Don't do that. So it was very confusing for
Because
me.
one of the nicest things about your singing, and while I was looking up some of your videos, is that you really throw your voice out there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I do
you
have.
really
I have a pair of lungs.
Yeah,
as they say.
you have a solid pair of lungs. You really throw
I
your
went
voice.
for a master health checkup in Bombay, and apparently I like outbeat the lung capacity chart. And I was like, I'm a singer.
Yeah, so because you're really belting it out,
Yeah.
like they say, right? So to kind of keep that in check for so long,
Even
must,
as a person.
that
I
must
think-
have been something.
Yeah, that's why I think I took a break and I reassessed. When we last spoke, I was like, sir, I'm reassessing.
Yeah,
And
I think that was before Labam and things like that.
right before the pandemic.
Yeah.
Right before the lockdown.
Yeah.
Lockdown was like really something very important for me personally.
Right.
300 days almost it felt like on my own.
Right.
Since June to December, I had no company. It was just me and my piano. That's where a lot of this happened.
At that point, people were saying things like, don't confuse this Shruti with that Shruti because the audience is going to get confused.
Indirectly, they said, don't be that Shruti.
Right. But that doesn't bother you now.
No.
Because like I'm acting in Salaar, I'm acting in the Eye, but I am going to also be this Shruti from Monster
Yes.
Machine.
Yes.
And if you can't deal with it, that's your problem.
Click to the next video.
That's right. That's
I mean,
a better way of saying it,
yeah.
but yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's not if you can't deal with. This is a part of me. This is a part of me. There are people who said, Ari, but why do you do these commercial films? I loved you in D-Day. But then those people are like, why aren't you doing more films like this?
Right.
So it's
But I think with
It's a
films,
buffet.
but the films also, it's more like you can only choose from what you're offered.
Yes.
Right? It's like unless you're a producer.
no, and
Which is
sometimes
why
we
today
do
you-
choose. We do choose the commercial film for our own reasons.
Yeah, you do. But I'm saying that it's also that you can only choose from what's coming your way, right?
Which is what the power comes in creating your own.
In thing, which is why I
Corner.
think a lot of actors are turning producers today. Like female actors are turning producers today, so they can produce
Yes.
the stuff that they want to put out. In
Yes.
fact, you said which, and one of the films that I enjoyed the most was the one that Anushka Sharma produced called Pari.
Yeah.
That was a fantastic.
Because it's another expression
of that.
of misunderstood women.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of
We're a whole club,
Yeah.
We just need to talk to each other more, all the misunderstood women.
As a musician, because you've sung so many songs, I'm just going to pick 6 composers.
Okay.
That's Ilayaraja, that's A.R. Rahman, Haris Jayaraj, G.V. Prakash, Devishi Prasad, and maybe one more. Just tell me, as a musician, how do you observe them composing?
For me, let's start with Ilayaraja sir, because that's really, he's the one who told my parents she has a really strong, loud voice, because he came home to visit once and I screamed for my parents and he was like, she has a voice.
She has a pair of lungs.
Shruti irukkan theriyala, but you know, they were like, she's loud. Yes, she's very loud. So he made me sing my first song, and then I sung many years for Raja sir. I've even done background music work for him, you know, the background voices, and I was in the school
Right.
of his, and he's a tough taskmaster and a blessing to be around. I was just speaking yesterday. So in the beginning, it was just like, Raja sir's coming. Then, of course, as I grew, it was about appreciating his music. And I would say I was literally with Dad yesterday, and Dad's got a piano and he's been practicing how to play. And I was playing.
I'm glad to know that there's one thing he cannot do. Yeah, this is because this is
I am
insane.
officially better at the piano than my dad. No, but I mean, I love that he just got this piano and he's like, I'm taking lessons because I love the piano. We were playing yesterday and I was showing him and we were talking about the song from Guna. And I was saying, not only does he play chromatic, like he has no fear in taking chromatic circles because he deals with emotion that way as well. He's going to the grace notes in the middle, like when he's composing. He puts the lyric like unexpectedly. He kind of is like a cloud walker in music. So that's how I now look at him and see the genius of him.
Right, right.
And then I feel like Rahman sir is genuinely like very Sufi in his spirit. Like even when you listen to Rahman sir's songs, you hear it first, and then after like 2-3 weeks, it's like all you're listening to and you don't even know how you've attached to it. It's because he's so instinctive, but when you see him programming and working, like you can see he started out as somebody with a Casio and a floppy, and he is that person.
Why do you think that happened? As a musician, I want you to explain why.
Yeah.
You know that whole thing about Rahman's music being slow poison. You know,
Yeah.
you hear it once, and the first
Yeah.
time you're like, "What's happening?" And then it grows on you.
Yeah.
Why does that happen?
Everyone says it, right? I mean, now because I'm such a huge fan of his, I can be like, this is the one, this is the one. This is not my type of song, but I can see why. It's because he does it in a very fluid space. He's like, you know, like Bruce Lee, like be like water. He's very much that as a composer.
Because it's not templated, you mean?
It's not structured
Right.
in the way film songs are structured, not just film songs. So when he first came in, it was so on our face, like, I'm here. And then he was like, I'm here and you can now groove with me and what I enjoy. So he's got a freedom. Yeah.
Yeah, and Harris.
I think he's the man who grips you immediately and you're like, yeah, this is a song that's a hit. Like he knows what.
And you had one of your biggest hits with it. Yeah.
He can get the choir to sing with him, so to speak. He knows a pulse really beautifully because I think he writes honestly, like what he likes. Yeah.
Actually, when I heard that song from Varana Mayra, that's when I really got the depth of your voice.
Really?
Yeah, because
that was
it's-
lightly sung.
That was lightly sung because I was like, oh my God, this woman is really belting it out. You know,
I think it was Rahman sir who called me to do the Sebmari song,
Yeah,
and he
yeah,
was
yeah.
like, belt.
Yeah.
Go. I'll give you permission to scream. I was like, scream, scream. He was like, scream, scream. And then people were like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Then GB.
I think he's got an energy that's really infectious through the music. For me, I love when he goes into the folk space a lot. Because I love that. It's really...
That's there in your song as well, Monster Machine. The beats change towards the end, and
I think we are all very Indian in our spirit.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
And the Indian rhythm is such a great force, really,
Right.
for emotion. It's used in grief, it's used in joy, it's used in a wedding. It's very much a part of who we are. So I love that. I love that he has got a modern, contemporary viewpoint on something that's from the earth.
what about Devi Shri Prasad?
He's just like commercial and he knows what you want. He is without fail on it at least in Telugu cinema.
Right.
We know that if he's doing the music for a film, we better dance because it's going to do really well. Yeah.
You know, you have this amazing capacity to disappear for a few months/years.
The year disappearing, I'm not doing anymore.
You're not doing anymore.
No. That's
and then
sorting
suddenly you're back with Walter Viraya this year.
Yeah,
You're back with,
And then
this-
capping off the year with this.
capping off a year with Salaar. How does this keep happening to you? Because usually in the industry, it's out of sight, out of mind. How did you escape that?
Because I'm a virus. I keep coming back.
I'm serious. Tell me. But it usually, somebody goes away on a break, and when they come back, they are no longer in demand
I have a genuine reverence for this place.
for the industry.
For the industry, for a group of creative people coming together anywhere.
Right.
Whether it's musicians, whether it's... I have a genuine reverence, and when I practice gratitude at night, I am so thankful to God that this is my job.
Right.
And that my two jobs are in the same form of expressing something. And I think because you're not worried about not going to the temple and whether the pujari will let you in. Your connection is with the God.
Yeah.
So I treat it like that. It is a place of sanctity and purity for me. Doesn't matter what people say.
That is all of performance space.
Yes.
Yes. Okay.
So I know that I have reverence for it, and I'm humble in the face of it. It's not, I know people call it a rat race and the box office, and all of those things are part of it, just like there's a undi in the temple and you put money in. But it is a place of reverence when people form a circle of trust to create art.
Right.
And when I walk back in it, I know I belong there. That's it.
Okay.
The others' opinions don't matter. I know I belong there because it's, so I keep coming back.
Have you sung anything in Salaar?
No.
Okay.
No.
Right.
No.
But again, you've been in many, many big projects with many big heroes. How is Salaar different?
Yeah, it's a big project. So, when I first got in, I was like, okay, this project is huge, this, that. But I have to say, I've made some of so it's a really weird thing, but I aim now to follow my instinct as a person and say, okay, I'm going to enjoy working with these people. So I'm going to approach this and give them my warmth and give my generosity of, I give you my hand, let's do this together. And that's something I've learned only later in my career, and I wish I'd done it.
How would you do it earlier?
Not do it.
Like you would just show up on the set,
Yes.
do your role and go back?
Yeah, pretty much.
And what are you doing on Salaar?
Like whether it's a Salaar or the Eye, for
The Eye,
example,
yeah.
which was female writer, director, producer.
Right.
When I feel
and
the
it also
energy,
got
yes,
a
the
couple of
best-
awards in Greece.
Yes,
in
it got
Greece
the
Film
best
Festival.
film, best
Yeah.
director.
Yeah.
So amazing for us for that. The
Right.
woman leading our team got a recognition. I
Yeah.
wouldn't say an award, but
Right.
you know what I mean.
Yeah. So how are you approaching acting these
So
days?
for me, I was like, whether it's an Eye, independent English film, or it's Salaar, to me, the energy towards it is the same. And when I meet people halfway who are loving and giving and generous of spirit, I really enjoy the process so much. So I have to say Prashant sir has been just one of the most wonderful people I've worked with. He creates this large world, but he's like the simplest, chillest of people, genuinely. Prabhas is an absolute darling. I've had so much fun. Now coming to Bhuvan sir. Bhuvan sir shot this video.
Right.
And the Salaar unit allowed me to use parts of the sets they didn't use to shoot my music video. Because they're not just saying, be the heroine of our film. They're saying, be our friend and how can we support you creatively.
Lovely.
And so I formed this little community of friends. So Dwarakesh is the director of the music video. We all sat down, conceptualized it together. We were like, where do we shoot it? Where do we shoot it? And then Bhuvan sir was like, Undi kada Shruti, there's one portion of the Salaar set we didn't use. It's not in the film, so don't look for anything. But, they were like, why don't you use it? Then Prashant sir was kind enough to say, use our production manager. It's your production. Are you doing it? Neenga pandringla? I said, yes, sir, it's all my production. No, use ours. Use it. And that's the first time I felt, oh, this is how people get together and make dreams come true.
Right.
It's really beautiful.
That's lovely. So has this approach made you look at film differently?
Yes,
All right.
it has.
Right.
It has.
How?
It's made me enjoy people and the stories that we're telling together much more.
Shruti, you've been in this industry since 2009. I'm not counting the child appearance, right?
No.
Right.
Yeah.
So Luck happened in 2009.
Yeah.
Next year it's going to be 15 years.
Yeah.
In these 15 years, this is something you've just discovered that.
I had three projects in which I had that experience.
Right.
3 was one of them. D-Day was one of them. Srimantru was one of them.
Right.
Where I was like, okay, come.
Is that where you play this character called Charushila?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it was just really wonderful, those experiences. But I thought it's a flash in the pan, like, idu vandu regular
It doesn't happen, yeah.
It cannot sustain like this. These are the few people that you've enjoyed. So the rest go back to business, corporate, that kind of energy.
Right.
Now I aim to make that happen on every project because it's a
Right.
duty to me.
Right.
Yeah.
So now the wise 15 years later, Shruti.
I don't know why.
But whatever. How would you sum up the film industry?
It's a very interesting place.
Okay.
And it has something
What
for
has
everyone.
it given you? What has it taught you?
Patience
Right.
and compassion for stories, for myself. Because I get a lot of, there are people who are like, no, we get what you're doing, we appreciate your performances, we get this. Well, in this you should do more of that. And I'm like, but how? How will I do more of it when people want more of it? Then there are people who say, but she's only this. And there are people, so much. So I was like, oh, wait. It's not the validation. I actually love my job. I enjoy it. And that'll show. But that's took me a while to get there.
So
It's got something for everyone.
there is a frame in your video
Ji.
where you are looking at yourself in the mirror.
Yeah.
I just want you to explain that concept to me because, like you said, you are playing 4 different women in this. Maybe not different women, but 4 versions of yourself.
Narratives.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. So four types of women, maybe.
Yeah.
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 So when this woman looks into the mirror, what is Shruti seeing there?
So that portion was in reference to the movies.
Right.
We made it
The real Shruti versus the.
real Shruti in the sense the times have had to be quiet. But she gets to perform things as well.
Right.
She gets to be with that Leza or whatever. But she gets to be all of those things till she faces the mirror.
Right.
And the mirror was my responsibility. That scream in the mirror is the internal process because you can blame the outside. And this applies to everyone, not just actors. You can blame the outside. You can say it's circumstantial. You can play the victim. You can play the hero. But the reflection in you have to have a communication that's usually never fun.
That's a lovely explanation and a great note to end this on because usually a song is a song, but when the song is accompanied by a video,
Ji.
you get another layer to the song.
Yes.
Because it's not just oral anymore, there's
Yes.
visual as well.
Yes.
And you it's lovely to see because the lyrics make us interpret our own things.
Yes.
The visuals now add to that and like, okay, now what is.
In fact, that's the first line. I want you there when I'm saying, I am dead, and you know that feeling.
Yeah.
We're barely living on most days, We're all crumbling in some way. And we're all a monster at some level. And this is not a video just for women.
I'm not a really nice person, okay? I'm just saying this for this.
You're a kutti monster, maybe.
Yes.
I'm not a kutti monster.
You're like.
No.
Yeah, you've got those lungs. I haven't got those lungs. See, that's the difference. I can't scream.
Nice excuse,
Yeah,
sir.
nice
It's the ones who are quiet that you have to watch out for.
Yeah, like watch out for me. But thank you, Shruti. That was
Thank
great.
you.
And
Thank you.
all the best with. I hope to see more music videos.
Definitely.
Apart from the films, because I think there's something really interesting there in terms of a voice.
It's another form of expression.
Right.
Yeah.
So all best wishes.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
Holidays nale, adu namma GT Holidays da. South India's #1 travel brand.
Ariza, shirts and trousers.
Deepavali collection Kodi, Magachiyum Kodi. The Chennai Silks. Let the celebrations begin.